Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you, and today we've got one that I'm very happy to finally be able to bring you. This is the Protech Rockeye, the new 2021 version of the Protech Rockeye. I've actually had this for quite some time. I was kind of embargoed about doing a full review on it because they're not available yet. Still aren't as of this day. I'm putting this up on March 22nd of 2021, but they are hitting dealer availability catalogs today, which means that they're going to be starting to show up in dealers later this week. As such, I can't really give you the exact full price on it. I'm guessing, with a pretty educated guess, somewhere right around $200, maybe a little bit south of that. Not too bad at all for what you were getting. This is obviously a Les George design. The original Rockeye sold out quite some time ago. They discontinued it, and now they've updated it. A lot of people say, when I showed it in shows, and I get it, because if you are just into Protech the last couple of years, which honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat, everybody says, why does that SBR look so big? This is the Protech SBR, one of their very popular models. These go for 170, which is why my educated guess is that this is probably going to be, 190, 200, something like that. No, the SBR stands for Short Bladed Rockeye, because the Rockeye was first in 154 CM blade. This is updated with S35 VN. Still aluminum handles. It's going to come in textures and different, and it comes in blue as well. But Protech was kind enough to send me this. Thank you very much. Well, allow me to purchase it early, I guess I should say, at a discount. They didn't send it to me. I had to buy it at a discount, which I was fine with. But they found one they sent me one that's exactly the same, matches my SBR, which I think is really cool. There will probably be a day where I carry these both together. I have not yet, but I'm sure that day is coming. I love Les George designs. I love the overall look and style of it. But yeah, this is... If you're new to Protechs, a bigger version of the SBR. If you've been in Protechs for a while, it's an updated version of the Rockeye. There was a long explanation for nothing there, but regardless, a pretty cool knife, I do have to say. Again, I like the looks. The ergos are just fantastic. We'll get to that more in a moment. Probably one of my favorite things about it. Has that really cool Les George logo. I always say it looks kind of like a Motorhead album or something like that. A bit of a different pocket clip on it. You have it's the same pattern as a Benchmade, so that 3-screw pattern. Doesn't have the deep carry clip like you see on a lot of other Protechs like the SBR. It just has this, which is cool. You get lots of options. I know they said that Casey Lynch Northwest is working on a clip specifically for this. Whenever those are available, I will be getting one, because if I have one problem with the looks on this, I was going to save it to the end. We'll talk now. If I have one problem with the aesthetics on this, it is the pocket clip. Not because I don't mind the 3-hole. I don't mind that it's not deep carry. This is kind of a, as you'll see when we get to dimensions, it's a bit of a bruiser. I don't mind that it's a not deep carry, but it's just that the pocket clip overlaps one of the body screws a little bit. That annoys my knife reviewer OCD just a tiny bit, but other than that, it's completely fine. It is right hand only, though. You'll see it was chilled for. Does have a lanyard hole, kind of a silly spot. It makes you can't really put a deep carry unless you want to cover up that lanyard hole. I don't like lanyards, but it doesn't annoy me as much, because again, as I said, this is kind of a bruiser. It's not something I think you grab when you want discreet carry, because not only does it, the dimensions kind of bruisery, it makes a lot of noise when you open it up, which is a very, very cool thing. So let's get to some specs and some size dimensions before, specs and size comparisons, here we go, before I get ramble too much longer. So pretty average sort of EDC size overall. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to line this up. Blade length of 3.5 inches, overall length of 8.5 inches. Blade thickness, not too beefy, 0.125. Handle thickness of 0.5 inches. Weight of 4.72 ounces. Which isn't heavy, but for an all aluminum Protech, it's getting up there a little bit. But again, it does kind of fit the personality of the knife. Let's do some size comparisons. We'll start out with our usuals, and then we'll bring out some more automatics. You have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Very similar in size to the PM2. The PM3 down below it here. A little bit bigger than a Para 3. And we'll bring out our 2 Benchmades. Bring out the 940 and the full-size bug out. So a little bit bigger than either of those. We're going to bring the SBR back out again for just a moment. I'm going to bring out another Protech to compare it to, one of the more common Protechs. So if you're a Protech fan, maybe you found this video. So the SBR again, this is a 2.6-inch blade versus 3.5. It's significantly larger. And then I think one of Protech's most popular models right now, not an auto, but the Malibu. Wanted to bring this out for a size comparison. A little bit bigger than the Malibu. And another tech company, dad joke, Microtech, bring out, it's an OTF, but still an auto. We have the Microtech Ultratech. I'm trying to use this for size comparisons for a lot of autos now, because I know that as far as OTFs go, for sure, it's kind of like the thing. It has been for a long time. A little bit bigger than an Ultratech, and probably a more important comparison, because it isn't out the side, the LUDT, which I assure you exists. It's not just a blade, but this purple, I wanted a purple that matched my background, and I did too good of a job. So yeah, just a slight bit bigger in length than the LUDT, but it is a much beefier knife in a lot of ways than the LUDT is. So let's talk about this knife. S35VN, I know that Protech does kind of catch some crap sometimes because they use 154 cm on a lot of stuff. The way it was explained to me by Dave from Protech is sometimes if a knife, the original version, had that steel, they stick with it for a while. And 154 is very resistant, is from what I've understood, not just from them, but other people. That's why you see a lot of autos in 154 variants. It's very resistant to the kind of impact that you get from opening an automatic blade. But S35VN also works pretty good, and they're starting to upgrade to that. I have had a couple of Protechs in S35VN now, and I can say it does hold up really well. They do a very good job with it. No problems there. I love the shape. Just a nice, simple drop point. Pretty hard to go wrong there. This one is stonewashed with the satin flats. There will be other finishes available. Thickness behind the edge, a little thick, 27 thousandths. Would not have been considered thick, 2 years ago, but now it's kind of considered a bit thick. But again, the personality of this knife, the blade stock isn't horribly thick like a big beefy bruiser, but I don't know, it just has that feel of it. I don't really mind that it's a little thicker behind the edge. Screaming sharp out of the box. And again, pretty thin blade stock, so it still slices and cuts pretty well. It's not going to be like a slicing machine, like some of the Civivis with their really thin hollow ground blades or anything like that, but it does pretty darn well. You do get a pretty robust tip on it, which shows up horribly on camera because it is swedged, but pretty good tip on it for the thickness of this blade, so no issue. Again, this is a knife that's meant to really be used, so again, that's why I don't really mind the thickness behind the edge as much. Ergos, as I alluded to before, are outstanding. Another reason why I don't mind that they use this pocket clip, because I do think if it was a loop over, just where it lands in my hand, I could see it being a hot spot if it was a loop over deep carry clip. So no issues there. Jimping up here on the top of the blade is not only perfectly placed to really lock you in, it also is just the right amount. It's pretty aggressive, but it's not sharp, so it doesn't really bother me. I don't think this isn't one that I feel like I need gloves on or anything. You're definitely locked in there for sure, but it's still pretty darn comfortable. Everything about this is pretty darn comfortable. I like the finish. It's the usual Protech kind of matte sort of, coating on their aluminum. It's going to scratch up over time, but no real issues there. For me, I don't mind if I get a few scratches on them here and there, but, it's coated aluminum. It is what it is, but I really like the texture of it. It does feel, if I'm just sitting here rubbing it back and forth, there are some things like, it gives you little creepies, but as far as actually using it, it's very, very good. No problem. Ergo's outstanding. Zero complaints there at all. How does it carry? Well, like I said, it's a little heavy. Not bad at all. 4.72 ounces. Gotta have knives that weigh a lot more than that. And again, no deep carry clip, so there's a fair bit sticking out. If you get one of the blue finishes, I think is one of the launch colors, it's going to be pretty obvious you have a knife in your pocket. But, no flipper tab, so very easy to get your hand past. There is zero jimping that your widow pinky is going to acquire or anything like that, so you don't, or can come in contact with, so you don't have to worry about that. And again, there's going to be a lot of clip options because it is a Benchmade style clip, so There's a whole bunch of different ones available. Clip's kind of long, but again, knife like this, that doesn't bother me as much. There's no thoughts of being discreet, you know, when I carry this. But once it's actually in the pocket and rides there, it doesn't take up a whole ton of room. It's completely fine. Just your sort of average EDC size in the pocket. Nothing amazing. It doesn't like disappear in the pocket, but it's not a pocket hog or anything either. The action on this, I don't know what it is with the Les George designs. I mean, I have an example of, you know, two, just the SBR in this, but I don't think they put a heavier duty spring in these, but man, like all Protechs hit pretty good. Let me grab another one here. This is one I have. It ranges. This is my Newport. It's pretty hard. It's good for a small little knife like this. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's fine. But then you look at like the SBR. It's like audibly louder, and it does hit harder. Like for sure. And the Rockeye, every bit as hard as the SBR is. It's pretty impressive. I do have to say, this is one that like discreet opening is not really much of an option. I mean, you can push the button and just kind of, you know, slowly let it, but still it's really hard to open this discreetly. It definitely, as I say in other reviews, she bangs. This is, you can feel it like when it hits this backstop, you can feel it kind of vibrate through your hand up to about here. Like it's pretty impressive. I like that. That just gives you a feeling of like confidence, you know, like this thing is, you know, that spring is tough. It is not going to break, you know. It just gives you a feeling of, yeah. And I do really like that. So overall, yeah, I mean, guessing what the price is going to be, very excited for this, for more people to get their hands on them. I think is an outstanding, just all-around usage. I know I mentioned a few times about having a bit of a heavy-duty feel, but maybe kind of a /hardish use EDC, I could totally see. Like if you actually have a job where you actually do stuff with your hands, unlike me, I just wiggle them on YouTube videos. If you actually have a job where you really do stuff with your hands, this is a great auto. And it's a Protech. Extremely well made, all 100% in the USA, amazing warranty. It's a Les George design. This is what a lot of his stuff looks like. A lot of it looks very familiar to this, but that's good. That's what he does because it works, and that's why you see a lot of stuff that looks unmistakably Les George. So really, really do like this. You like Les George designs? Again, your guy works with your hands or something. You want an auto? Yeah, this is not at all a bad choice. It's going to feel like a very familiar just work knife, but it happens to be an auto that makes that noise. So yeah, very, very cool. I'm very glad they came back out with this, re-released this, whatever word I'm looking for. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.